Hey, it's time for a pop-up to check in with what's going on with the news and our feelings and our thoughts, even though I'm recording this and I'll upload it. We're not live right now, but we definitely have to look at a few things, and we definitely have to keep our positivity up. Couple things that might make you feel better about what's happening. Well, we have some spiritual helpers on the other side, and one is the Pope now. And we do have guides and we do have angels. And right now, in this time that we're in, we can look at the bad news, but we have to be really careful to not dwell on it. And especially this, to not choose the bad news as being your future reality. And pass it on. It's really important that people are aware of the news, the actual news that you'll get on YouTube more than you'll get on mainstream media, clearly. But when you see the news, be very careful, because I think we do this subconsciously. I think we do it without really realizing it so much. Like, we hear about the tariffs, for instance, and then we go, oh my gosh, I have to prepare for the tariffs. Yeah, that's all well and good. But just be careful that your thoughts aren't all going to how bad it's going to be. Are we challenged right now? Absolutely. Can things change? Absolutely. So we're going to look at a few things. And I know it's unbelievable. I know the Hegseth situation is unbelievable. I am going to pull cards about him. I did get that he was going to step down. I'm not sure if it would be of his own volition or if he gets booted. But first, you know what I'm going to do first? Because this is so egregious and it's so dangerous. And what I think is a big danger is that his ego is so huge, just like Dumpy's, that these kind of narcissists, they cannot lose, they cannot admit they were wrong, they cannot apologize, because there's something wrong with their brains where they can't. It doesn't even matter who they're hurting. They just can't say that they were wrong and do the right thing. So I'm going to read on him, on Hegseth. If you follow the news all day like I do, if you saw, you've probably seen it, him on Fox with that Brett guy who wears eyeliner. I don't know the Brett guy's last name. You've probably seen the clip by now. But it's weird. Anyway, Pete Hegseth. There's somebody that's telling him to not step down. Let's ask this. There's somebody telling him emphatically to not step down. Let's go through the list. Is Dumpy telling him to not step down? That's not a definite, not really. I don't get that Trump is telling him don't step down. Is Elon telling Pete Hegseth to not step down? No, I don't. Elon's been kind of MIA lately, so I don't think it will be coming from him. Are people at the Kremlin telling Hegseth to not step down? There you have it. Not coming from Dumpy directly, not coming from Elon. The Kremlin. Don't step down. You're a useful puppet. You're keeping America in a very vulnerable place. That's where we want it to be. The cards say, well, that's what I'm picking up here. The Six of Swords, it's going to be really difficult for him. It's going to be diminishing returns for Hegseth. I'm getting a sense of him being really squeezed and pressured in a big way. And I do feel that he's drinking a lot. Nice, huh? You know, he's in charge of our military. Is he drinking? Is Hegseth drinking? He is drinking. Now, I actually feel like there are different levels of alcoholism. I do. I feel that. I don't feel like, everyone's a bad alcoholic. I feel like some people are emotionally dependent on it, and some are physiologically dependent on it. And some, it can be considered to be having an allergy to alcohol, which makes you crave it. So, is Pete Hegseth a high-level alcoholic, as in he can't, once he starts, he can't stop. That's what I'm seeing. That's interesting. Will he be forced to leave his position because of a dangerous situation? No. So it's not going to be like we get attacked or something militarily, and it's not that. Is he going to, in fact, be stepping down? I do get a yes. But the Kremlin, it feels like there's sources at the Kremlin. Oh, yeah, and what's his name? Witkoff is popping into my head. Okay, there it is. I think I just nailed it. Witkoff that was on the Signalgate feed. Is it coming from him? Uh-huh. That's the Kremlin Connect. Witkoff is the one that saw Putin last week and went, like, my hero. Unfucking believable. Excuse my French. Okay. Okay, let's bring it up, Annette. Happy Earth Day. Trump has promised to destroy the planet. I got a text from Kathy Beale that Elon's helpers have gone into the National Art, what was it? I'm just looking for the information. Here it is. Let me look this up. They're trying to shut down art museums. Because, the Nazis hate art. Anything that's inspiring, they hate. Okay, so this is what I got. The Alt National Park Service in D.C., Elon Musk's staffers are now trying to push into the National Gallery of Art. They recently met with the museum's director and legal counsel, good they have legal counsel, to question its legal status and explore ways to assert influence. This is one of the most respected art institutions in the country, and now it's in the crosshairs of Musk's team. Let's see if they're going to succeed in shutting it down. Will they succeed? No, they will not succeed in shutting it down. I'm going to ask about, how Harvard is taking a stand. Harvard University is taking a stand. And we're starting to see people just putting their stake in the ground and going, do not cross. Let's just look at whether that's going to be a trend. I don't think they're going to be able to mess with the art museum. Okay. Yeah, the guides are telling me that things are going to fall apart before they can really do much there. And I kind of get the sense, too, that this criminal administration, this regime, is so chaotic and so disjointed that they have so many things that they're trying to destroy all at the same time that they become ineffective. It makes sense. I mean, they're trying to pretty much destroy every single thing that represents us. Postponement, yeah, that's what I'm seeing. I don't see that they'll be able to cover all their bases when it comes to destroying everything. I see harmony. It's a burden. The burden is that we really have to fight. Like we have to fight for our planet that Trump has promised to destroy. Remember, all his oligarchs, all his oil barons were promised to not be regulated during his illegitimate campaign if they gave him money. If they gave Dumpy money, he promised them that he would take away all regulations. So Dumpy's plan for the country is to make sure we don't have clean air, we don't have clean water, all our safeguards are being removed, and I'm actually seeing that there's so much of a burden placed on this regime that I just keep feeling like wrenches are thrown into the works. They just keep getting snagged. So the postponement kind of said that, but it will feel like a burden until we get them ousted. Yeah, interesting. All right. We're going to read on the Fed Chair, Jerome Powell. What's going to happen there? And last night I read on it, and I felt like there are people in Dumpy's ear that are telling him how disadvantageous it would be to him personally if he fired Powell. So, where are we at with that? It's pretty unbelievable what they're setting us up to experience. Remember, and I wrote an article about this. It's one of my Substack articles. Dear Trump, destroy America, love Putin, because that's what's going on. And I know when Putin falls, all this falls apart. So let's pull 3 cards. And the rest of the world is on board with Americans. With Americans, not with Dumpy. So the Powell situation. Yeah, well, what Dumpy wants to do is inflict pain. Because he's a sadist. And the King of Wands, yeah, this is Dumpy just blah, 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 blah about Jerome Powell, who's had that position for decades, I believe, for a long time. So he's attempting to slander the hell out of Powell. But I have the Justice card. I don't know if this would be a Supreme Court case, but there's something stepping in with justice. Okay, so let's ask this. Let's use a different pendulum. Well, first of all, it's illegal to fire Jerome Powell. Yeah, the pendulum's giving me a yes on that. Here's another scenario where the dictator is trying to be a dictator, but he's in a democracy. But Dumpy is really doing his best to just hurt all of us. And I mean, these are people. The people that he's gotten fired are the creme de la creme. I mean, they're the kind of people that if you walked into a room and you heard them talking, you'd be like, wow. I didn't know people were that smart. I mean, that kind of thing. Like Dr. Fauci. Fauci was one of those. Really, really just so accomplished and so talented and so gifted and how awful it is that when we hear the name of Dr. Fauci, all we think about is all the negative drama. It's evil. It's evil. This is what the demonic does. So I'm asking, as far as Jerome Powell goes, will the law hold that he can't, the law will hold that he can't fire Jerome Powell? He'd crash not only our economy, but the world economy. But he doesn't care. Dumpy doesn't care. He's a child, and an evil child. He very much gets a huge rush from destroying things. Huge rush. The more people enjoy those things, the more he gets a huge rush out of destroying it. Whatever it might be. One more thing I'm going to ask is, I'm going to actually ask about the arts. I know there's lots to read on. I'm thinking about the Kennedy Center was slated to have Hamilton play next year, the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, of the birth of our country 250 years ago next year. So I'm going to read on this. Not only, I'm going to kind of lump them into one question of the arts and our culture and music and all that. Will they be restored? And I'm asking, will Hamilton actually play at the Kennedy Center? Because that's a very revealing question. Which would be next year, which would say where we are, in like a little more than a year from now. King of Swords, Hermit. Well, this looks like I have the King of Swords and the Queen of Wands. That doesn't look like a dumpy regime. And the Hermit. So Dumpy is out next year. I don't feel him there, and this is a different administration. I'm reading that accurately? That's what I'm asking. I'm reading that accurately. Okay. Well, I mentioned earlier off the ledge that today's pop-up might be a little bit longer because I try to keep the pop-ups really short, but let's do one more question just because there's so much to go over. Let's pull 3 cards about the aftermath of Pope Francis's passing, which is a world event, and whether that's going to make people more compassionate. Now, another thing, thanks to Kathy for sending me these things. Another thing that I want you to know is that I'm going to just read this. Donald Trump effigy hanged, shot, and set on fire at Spanish festival. Yeah. The world wants him done. I mean, I don't think that they did that as an expression of how they felt. So, 3 cards about how Pope Francis's, the effect of his death on the world, how that's going to shift things, if it is. And I just mentioned that because that surprised me. They had a mannequin of him, of Dumpy, at a Spanish festival. Spanish burning of Judas Festival Sports. The U.S. president. Hang on a second. I'm just going to tell you where I found this. Where she found it. On Threads. Yeah. There it is. And now to the aftermath of Pope Francis passing. I'm just bringing that up because the rest of the world is with us. It's like the rest of the world is with the Russian people. We are, it's the same thing in a way. It's a little touch of that for sure that we're going through. A little touch of that. I have the 3 of Swords. So the 3 of Swords, this is the aftermath of Pope Francis. Yeah, people are pretty devastated. He was old, you know. Still hard, though. Because a lot of people are wondering. I'm not going to get into who's going to be the next pope. We've got plenty of time for that. I don't like when people jump to, like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, when she died, it was just like, the ink wasn't even dry on the death certificate, and they were installing Amy Coney Barrett. I won't get into all that. It's too long of a of a rant. But the Three of Swords, the Four of Pentacles, Queen of Rods. I think that there's going to be a time. I'm just reading on the aftermath of Pope Francis' death. You know, what kind of shifting will happen in the world, and yeah, lots of heartbreak. The Four of Pentacles is going to be a kind of a. It's going to be a long wait before there's a new pope. And the Queen of Rods. I feel the divine feminine rising up. Now, I'm not going to, like, we're going to jump the shark, do they say? I'm not going to say that there's going to be a female pope. I wouldn't go that far. But Pope Francis was the one that kind of advocated for women being in ministry. It didn't happen, but he wasn't against it. So I think we're going to see a rising up of the feminine in some way, which is a more gentle and kind and compassionate energy. So, I mean, it's not aggressive. The male energy is aggressive when we're just talking energy. So I think that's what I have for you now for today. And we'll do Psychic News Network tomorrow and Off the Ledges daily. The pop-ups have been daily also, unless I get really busy. So you can count on me for that. And one of the reasons that I'm doing more videos is because it's almost nobody that's booking readings. So it's not just that I want to come to you and you know, do readings together on the political news, but also, you know, I'm a very gifted psychic, and I could really appreciate having some readings. So psychic@dion.com, and there is a special offer for new clients. You can get a short reading for a small amount, and I'm offering $100 off spiritual life coaching. So consider it. Psychic@dion.com, and I'll be back tomorrow. Keep your chin up. Namaste.